Well, hello everyone and welcome to a preview of the most important race of the 2015 season in what has really been a very interesting season. It's been the first year of R Factor 2 and going into the season finale in Abu Dhabi this Sunday, 3 points separate the two Yanata Rokas. Yanata Roka have dominated the season. It has to be said. They have really dominated. You'd think with a one team domination, wow, this has been a boring season. You really can't say that, considering the season that it has been. And what a season it has been. But before, it really has been an exciting one. But I wonder, there's gonna be a lot of pressure on both Yanata Rokas because it's gonna be. Because whoever wins, it will be their first time. We are guaranteed to see a new champion, a brand new, someone who's never won the championship before. But without further ado, let's go into what happened. But now, it is time to go into the story of Last Time Out. Sorry about this, this is going well. Okay, here we go.
We have a safety car.
Don't give up, we have a safety car.
Safety car in this lap.
Excellent job, we'll keep this going.
Hanner stopped the car, engine failure.
Great job, well we are now P2.
Safety car, safety car.
Kieran, we don't have to stop again. Could be a good result.
Safety car in this lap. Awesome drive wheels. Driver dismissal.
Well, that really was a thrilling race. But so much went on. The first major talking point, what a drive from Will SC to be able to come through from the back of the grid to be able to come through from the back of the grid, and well, not the back of the grid, he dropped to last after the early instance and then fought his way through. But the second major talking point, Alex Moores. That mistake he made, and I'm sure he will be. He was absolute. Apparently, he did not come out of his hotel room for a day, and he didn't answer any texts or phone calls. He just didn't want to speak to anyone. He was just so annoyed at himself for that mistake. At first, he tried to blame Tucson, but then looking at the footage, he realised that it was his mistake. That he went into that gap in the barrier. But now I'm going to just run you through the drivers' standings. It is Alex Moores who leads the standings on 259 points, ahead of Will Essie on 256. 3 points in it. Bring it on. Almost over 100 points behind. Almost 125. It's going to be quite an interesting battle for third. You've got Hannah Duran on 133 in third. Dan Miller on 127 in fourth. Kieran Hardy on 126 in fifth. Toby Jones on 125 in sixth. And Chantal Hawke on 117 in 7th. Jack Baldwin is quite a way behind Hawke in 8th, but with the 2 Coombs GPs rounding out the top 10, followed by the 2 Baronessos. And those are the top 12 in the drivers. In the constructors going into this race, Yanata Roca lead, obviously. They have the constructors well sealed. It's the battle for second that's going to be very interesting. Between Master Force and Dork. 2 points in it. So this could go any way in the battle for second in the constructors. And also don't count out Gindana, even though they are quite a way behind. They are 28 points behind Dork, so it's not very likely that they're going to be able to do anything. I think they are pretty much set for fourth. And then between Coombs GP and Brass at the moment, Coombs GP, who are, I'm pretty sure, are going to be relieved once this season is over. 12 points separating them. It's still possible for Baronessa to do it, seeing as this might be a track that might suit the Baronessas a little bit. And then behind that, we have the battle for 7th in the constructors, separated by just 1 point. RTS on 90.5, who are in 7th, and Tove on 89.5, who are in 8th. Both have had very good seasons. DMAD, I think, are pretty much set for 9th. I mean, CGP have to gain 20 points, so that's not very likely that that's going to happen. Mossa, I have a feeling, are pretty much set for 11th. They have had a very tough year. Obviously, they're selling to MAT next year. Last time they were in the points was in Spain. And then Shantano have had a considerably better second half of the year than the first half, because they were really struggling in the first half. But the second half, things have improved. They've scored a couple of points. One at Zandvoort and one in Sochi. Courtesy of both drivers. Then you have Wilspin Locky in 12th, courtesy of Kerry-Ann Peace, who scored a point in Malaysia. And then HWR, who I'm going to talk about in a minute, who are returning for this race, ahead of Speedtech. HWR ahead of Speedtech, who's obviously Harry Williams finishing 11th in Malaysia, secured that position. Now, talking about HWR, they have returned for this race. After missing 2 races due to ongoing financial issues with the team, they are back this weekend and apparently financially stable. New sponsors, they have lost the majority of their sponsors, but they're back nonetheless. Steele has remained with the team. She had said previously that she'd be willing to return in Abu Dhabi if they made it. So it's not surprising that we're going to see Steele in that car this weekend. And then, obviously, George Chandler left the team after their administration to focus on Formula E. So HWR have had to decide on their second driver. But they decided Formula Renault champion Louis Hyde. Formula Renault champion Louis Hyde. So it's going to be interesting to see how Louis gets on. He has got previous CRC experience. He participated in the first half of 2013. But I think we're in for a very interesting to see how they're going to get on this weekend. And now, not sure I've got that much time left. And actually, we're about to have James, who is about to join. Just going to call him. And it's going to be via iPad, so I can test having a second commentator for this weekend just to see how much he can see by looking at the screen. Trying to get onto my iPad. If it's actually going to let me call. Yes, it is now. If it's actually going to let me call. They've changed the app a little bit because I'm not used to those call sounds. But we have James.
Hello.
Yeah, I think you might be more hearable like this. But now I just need to see if I... Yeah, you can hear you quite easily. Don't want to add any contacts to it. Pardon?
That's good.
Yeah, I think we might hear you more clearly than me. It's going to have to turn the camera on so I can actually point it to the thing. And then that's my plan about how that's going to work. So, how much can you see at the moment? Oops.
Well, I can just about make it out.
We're getting a few technical... I just need to get this wire out of the way so I can stand the iPad up. You obviously saw me drop it momentarily. How's that?
I can just read the CRC 2015 bit. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is easy to read.
Yeah, it's gonna be in.
Only a small text there. It's too pixelated.
Yeah, because the small text obviously is very small.
Yeah.
But I guess this could do for second commentary. Because you'd still...
Yeah, I'd have to be quite vague. You could probably only use me occasionally. I don't think I'll be able to do that much, but yeah.
You'd see what's going on still.
Yeah.
But it's going to be... But now, talk us through what... I'm just going to move the microphone closer to the iPad so we can hear you a bit more. So, talk us through what you think we should expect for this weekend.
Hopefully, you will have a great battle between Alex Moores and Will Astley. But as usual, unfortunately, back markers could play a big part. With HWR coming back, we could see that. But it's quite a long lap, which might help us to see a good battle. But obviously, definitely we're going to see a massive battle in any way, shape or form, because both drivers are going to be giving it 100%, fighting out for this championship.
Yeah. Also, yeah, where do you think would be the best time to come up to a back marker?
Probably on the second straight, I'm going to say. I think the first straight could actually be a problem because you've got a little chicane afterwards, and then they might be able to follow you and get the slipstream back past. And we know
But the thing about what they've actually done is they're using the single detection point for both DRS zones this weekend. So
yeah, that will help. Yeah, it's still probably better to go on the second straight. But
what would you say would be the worst time?
Just coming into the start of the third sector, because there's no way through there normally, so the back markers will really have to get out of the way, and that's when you can see collisions, which is not good.
Yeah. So now what we're going to do is also just a test. It's going to be a lap with the general car. We're going to take you round a lap with the general car round the Yas Marina circuit underneath the lights, because obviously it's night time now in Abu Dhabi, and I have to say they have made the day to night transition. I've seen it in the game and they have made it look very good. So I have a bit of a cough, something in my throat a little bit, but which is why I'm also asking James to take us through this. So, just going to take us round towards the end of the lap. Here we go. You take us through a lap.
So, build speed onto this straight. You can extend there, but hopefully we will not be seeing that. Coming into turn 1, 90 group, but quite fast left-hander, and they try and carry as much speed through here as possible into a quick left, followed straight away by a quick but very long right-hander, where you have to try and run it out wide but not too wide, and then going over to the right, big braking zone.
I forgot to change this. I forgot to change the scene in the. I forgot to change the scene on OBS, but now I'll continue.
Okay, and so we've gone through that chicane, now coming to the hairpin, try and take a late apex to build up a big speed into the straight, and then I'm just going to run across this slight incline coming up here, and then the DRS zone, and the track kind of comes in a little bit from the right hand side, so you have to move over to the left slightly and then get your braking right around the 150 metre board, I think we're braking there, into the chicane, which is slightly off camber on the exit of that second one, getting onto this long straight now, bit of a left hander, but you can obviously carry just as much speed as down the straight, very little steering angle. Now building into this tricky little chicane again, going onto the right hand side as far as you can. Try not to hit the curbs too much around here, but you've got to take a fair amount of them, and try not to understeer here, and then get into the left hander. Try and make sure you get a good exit out of here, and now building it up to this fast right hander. Tricky to get your braking spot here because it's coming off a really fast corner. You brake down into here, make sure you don't run it wide there, don't lock a brake, and then navigate through this section. Just a tricky little section, but not too bad. Now the right hander, try and go as close to the wall as possible, but not too close, and obviously try not to track a stone as well. Last two corners, don't take too much cover, you're just going to lose speed. Try and run it as close to the left as possible, and then into that final corner once again, and you lost the line. That is a lap.
Yep, Abu Dhabi's racing has been fairly varied throughout the years, hasn't it? Because do you remember last year we saw an absolute thriller around the Yas Marina circuit, where Chantel Hawk claimed the title, and then, but in 2013 and 2011, the racing was not that exciting.
Yeah, I think it all depends personally on how much the drivers go for the moves. It is possible to overtake in that Sector 3, but it's very difficult. If people are going to be ambitious, then it's going to be a good race. If people are too conservative, then it's not going to be a race. I mean, you could see passes, but it'll just be passes down the straight, which isn't really what we want to see. We want to see actual good fighting and tactics through the corners. Especially
between the two front runners. Do you think we could see a safety car?
I think we should see a safety car. It's quite often around here.
We've seen the
the
safety
balls are
cars in
quite close.
3 of the last 4 races.
Yeah, I think we will.
We saw a safety car we saw 3 in Brazil. Of course, Brazil was a thrilling race, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. We saw lots and lots of collisions, lots and lots of battling. Will Leslie doing a great job, and if he does that again today from the not today, this weekend from the front, I'm sure that Alex Moores won't have a response to him, because although he was racing with slow cars, the rate that he was picking them off was just incredible, to be honest. So yeah, really top effort
And
from him.
also, do you think Alex Moores maybe had his confidence knocked a little bit by that mistake that he made in Brazil? Which...
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be really conscious. Even if he's got it comfortably, like he did in Brazil, he's going to be really, really nervous. And well, we had bad luck in USA.
He just will not want to throw it away the way that he did in Brazil.
Yeah.
Because that really was a bit of a noobish mistake as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just really weird how... I just don't see how he could have got it that wrong, but he did.
And it possibly could have cost him the title.
Yeah.
He could really pay the price for it after Sunday. I think if Alex Moores does lose it, he's not going to be blaming it on this race. He's going to be mainly blaming it on the mistake he made in Brazil.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, you have to feel from it, because do you remember, like, going into USA, we all thought he had it all secured, and then now it's down to just 3 points going into the finale.
Yeah, and I remember in Belgium, we were there, title's over, were the very words that we said.
Yep. And I remember when Esli was stuck, but with Woodward in Brazil, I was like, and this seems to mean that Alex Moores is champion.
Yeah, so many times it's looked like Moores has had it.
Yeah.
And just through all these wins that Esli's had, he's put himself back into play. And obviously through Moores' problems.
And also shows you can't say the championship is over until either it's an unassailable lead or after the last race.
Yeah.
And that shows it's just so much can happen. And we've had a lot of this year has probably had not like the unpredictability of the last few years, has it?
No, there's been a fair amount of unpredictability with a few shot wins, but yeah.
Compared to previous years, it's just so predictable to see Ines Aroca winning.
Yeah.
Last year, it was. What everyone wants from last year, we had like 5 teams with cars capable of winning races, and we had that element of unpredictability in there. We saw so many good races last year. Last year was a really exciting season. But now let's talk about because we've only got like 8 minutes left of airtime. Let's talk about 2016. We've had a few driver signings since Brazil, haven't we?
Yeah.
And easily the biggest one is Coomsheepy finally announcing that Rosie O'Driscoll will drive for them. What do you think of that announcement?
I think it was kind of predictable. I think Coomsheepy kind of almost left it too late to get anybody good from CRC. Obviously, Rosie O'Driscoll is very good, but from CRC. So they've had to go with someone inexperienced. I reckon it'll work out fine, but I just think before a team up then, I thought they would have gone with an experienced driver, but obviously in the last couple of weeks, it's been obvious that O'Driscoll was going to get the drive, and I think she'll do well.
Yeah, how well do you think she's going to do next year in comparison to Toby Jones? And how long do you think it will take for her to get up to speed?
I don't think it'll take her too long. But obviously in the first few races, we'll expect Jones to be quicker. And by the end of the season, I reckon she'll be giving Jones a good fight. But I would imagine Jones would have the edge over her over the season.
Yeah, and also SpeedTech signing Everson and Fernandez. Fernandez has really impressed in CGP3, hasn't he? Where do you think how well do you think he's going to do in CRC next year?
I think he'll do very well, actually. I think if he'd gone to a big team, it wouldn't have been the right thing. But a small team, the pressure's not on him, and he can take ages to get up to speed, and it won't matter because it's likely that Speedtech won't be really fighting for they'll be fighting for maybe minor or no points at all. So he's got time to get up to speed, and then by the end of the season, hopefully Speedtech will be a bit quicker and he can actually fight for some consistent points.
Do you think he'll give Everson a run for his money? Because Everson's been very impressive this year, hasn't he?
Yeah, Everson's had a good season. I think I'd probably compare it from James Casey. Everson's better than James Casey just. And Santiago Fernandez has done better in CGP3 than James did, so I think that Fernandez might have the edge on Everson, but Everson is a very good driver, so you can't really predict it too much.
And also, we didn't discuss this, with Abby Leggett being signed at Mossett, or their MAT run Mossett now, how do you think she's going to do?
Yeah, I think she'll do well as well. I think she'll be fine. I think it'll be good to go into a newly reformed team. When it is a
team that she knows very well as well, because she's loaned from MAT.
Yeah, so she knows the management side, and it'll be a team with a new lease of life, and I think it'll suit her really well.
Yeah. How well do you think she's going to do against Tucson?
I think she'll give Tucson a run for his money. He hasn't been great this season. He's been pretty good considering the car.
Yeah, Coonfield have had a tough year as a whole, haven't they? I'm sure they are quite pleased that this season is coming to an end, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be very pleased. And again, with them newly reformed team for next year, with Jones and O'Driscoll, completely new lineup, should push them up the grid for next year.
Now let's talk CGP2 now. 8 points in it. Where do you see this going this weekend?
I think Phoebe O'Connor will win it purely because she had even more than a lead than Alex Moores, and surely she can't lose it. I know she did actually lose the lead a bit, but I just think that massive gap that she brought up, it would be such an injustice if she didn't win, that she just has to win, I think.
Especially as it wasn't even her fault that gap went down. It was all down.
I think one driver error and all the rest of them were mechanical failures.
Well, I don't even think Holland was a driver error. I think that was due to some issues in qualifying, getting held up.
Yeah.
And then Austria and Belgium were both the same case. She was doing very well in the first race, and then suddenly her engine went.
Yeah, and then that ruins your second race. I think there was one race where she missed out on like 1 point in the second race, but obviously that doesn't really matter that much, so yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Rosie O'Driscoll, I think obviously she had a very good start to the year, didn't she? Obviously, taking a win in her first race. And she kind of went off a little bit mid-season, didn't she? But she's kind of come back now, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been looking very competitive. When O'Connor came into the problems, that's when she just came right back into it. And has then been really up for the front teams against O'Connor.
Yeah, she's had 3 wins since. She's had 5 wins this year, has Rosie O'Driscoll. And I'm just looking at Phoebe O'Connor's had 4 wins this year, which include a double victory in Monaco. So now obviously 1 race to go. It's going to be very interesting to see how this is going to end up. Abby Leggett's still mathematically in the fight, but she's 40 points behind, so it's not very likely, is it? So she's basically going to have to win both races if she wants to do it, with O'Connor and O'Driscoll not scoring much. So now, before we wrap up, we're going to look at CGP3. This looks like it's less doable. It's a 31-point gap for Reece Jeffries back to Niran Yusufu. Do you see this being done in the first race?
Yeah, I think it should be. Jeffries has had a few problems over the last few rounds. Hopefully that stops and we do get a fair fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if it is a fair fight, there's no reason why. Jeff
The interesting thing would be if Niran Yusufu won. He wasn't even in the first few races. He came in mid-season.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely amazing if Niran such a massive milestone for no one's ever done it before in any KSR league. For someone to have missed that much of a season and then to come in mid-season and actually then go on to win the title.
It'd be a very, very good effort. And he's had a solid season. Personally,
Yeah.
my personal opinion, he's been very lucky. He hasn't had any major problems.
He's scored in every single race that he's done.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but all of his wins have been sprint races rather than in the one that actually matters.
Yeah.
So,
I
I think he's been lucky, but he's still done a very good job.
Yeah, and apparently he's going to go to CGP2 next year. Do you think that's legit?
Yeah, I think he'll do a good job there as well, yeah. I'm pretty sure he'll be solid there.
Yeah, James Wimberley's still in it, but not very likely.
He hasn't really looked that good this season, I don't think. I don't really know how he's in there. Seems to do well, like, one weekend at 3.
Ollie Charlton is out of it. So he's not going to win the title. Anyway, we have to wrap up now. Of course, now I'm just going to give you a rundown of the times for this weekend in what is set to be a very interesting finale. We've got practice starting at 4 tomorrow in UK time. We get underway tomorrow with practice at 4. Then at 4:45 we have the CGP2 practice session, or approximately. And then on Friday at 6 we have the second practice. Then at 7 we have CGP2 qualifying. Then at 8 we have CGP3 practice. On Saturday, quite an interesting schedule for Saturday. 11 we get underway with the CGP3 qualifying. 12 we have the third practice in Abu Dhabi. Then at 1 we have the first of the races of the weekend. We have the CGP3 race. And then at 3 in the afternoon we have the CRC qualifying with the stream starting 15 minutes prior. And then at 4:45 we have the CGP2 race. On the Sunday schedule, at 8:15 we have the second CGP3 race, and then at 9:15 we have the sprint race in CGP2, and then the stream for the Grand Prix on Sunday starts at 12 with an hour's worth of build-up, and then at 1 we have the race. Hopefully if this works out with the method that we're currently doing, and it seemed to work quite well, we should have James with us in the commentary box.
Yeah, I think it will work, yeah.
Are you going to be available at 1 on Sunday?
Yeah, I think so.
It's going to be a tense one, isn't it?
Should be, yeah.
Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow when the weekend gets underway. Goodbye.